Liverpool FC is hard as hell. United, Tottenham, Arsenal. Watch my lips, and I will spell. Cause they don't just play, but they can rap as well. Liverpool FC.
My idea was to build Liverpool into a bastion of invincibility, you know, like... Napoleon had that idea, he would conquer the bloody world.
Okay, welcome once again to the Anfield South podcast with myself, the host Slim. Today we got a few guys with us, boys. Introduce yourselves, man.
Yo, Sam's in the building.
Chris there.
Lee.
Paul's here.
Sini's in the house.
Yes, and as usual, we have lots and lots to talk about. It's been a while, people. It's been 2 weeks since our last podcast, so we've had a couple of games. I know you boys were expecting me to start with today's game, but you know what? It was such a good game. I want to leave that till last. Yeah, that was great. It was a great game. So let's go all the way back. Let's go back to Watford in the Premier League. Away at Watford, score was 3-0. And who were the goal scorers again, boys? Refresh my memory. We had Firmino, Salah,
and Trent with the marvellous free
Trent with a worldy free kick.
Let me just refresh everyone's memory. We might be listening to the lineup that we had that day. We had the usual back four. Actually, it wasn't the usual back four, was it? Because we had Lovren in there, didn't we? There was no Gomez that time. So we had Robertson.
Yeah, greatest defender in the world, mate.
We had Robertson, Van Dijk, Lovren and Alexander-Arnold. And we had Henderson, Wijnaldum. And then we had Mane, Firmino, Shaqiri and Salah. Mm-hmm. Who wants to jump in on this one first?
I'll go first because it's something that will feed into the other games afterwards. Klopp's in-game decision-making. We played well enough for the duration of the game. However, there was an incident that concerned me a little bit. It was when I think we can all agree Henderson didn't have his best game in a Liverpool shirt.
That we got sent off in that game, as we all know.
Exactly, but I felt there was a period where he looked like he was going to get sent off. He had a few nibbles, got yellow.
He was quite hyped up, Henderson. Yeah. He was quite riled up. I think he's been away for a little while, and he's not a little while, but you know, he hasn't been in. He
lost his head though.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you could see it. I think you could see it. He was niggly, and I think Klopp should have made a decision to take him off.
But let me jump in there, Chris. But as Liverpool captain, shouldn't your manager be able to trust him and say, do you know what? He's on a yellow. He needs to contain himself. I'm going to trust him.
I hear that, but
he's not a new young experienced.
No, I agree with you. I agree. He should be able to.
We could all see what's happening, but I think Klopp was probably sitting there thinking, okay, do you know what? I trust him. He knows one more challenge and he's got a problem.
No, but he's usually decent. He's not an erratic player in terms of his temperament, but I felt on that occasion you could just see because he wasn't listening to the referee, he wasn't listening to the linesman, he was swearing at people, he was getting a bit too hyped up, and I think...
To jump in with you though, Chris, on this, I'm with him, because what I would say is, I felt Henderson in that game, it looked like he was out of his depth. You know when someone wants to impress, and show like, I've still got it, or I can do it, that's what I felt it was, and he was doing too much to try and do that thing. So you know them ones where you're throwing yourself about here and there, and he did have a few nibbles before that, and that one there, he knew the minute he had done it.
You know what? It was after the first yellow card. He did have a nibble, Silly. And the ref did have a word with him and say to him, "Look, blah blah blah." And then it was like minutes later, he had that tackle and he got sent off.
I'll jump in on Henderson as well. I'm looking at again. I always try and look at the psychology of stuff, right?
Okay, Professor.
Yeah. Now check out. Yeah, he came in that day. He had like a new, fresh shave. He's never shaved.
He had a fade.
Wow.
He looked to me.
He went to that Negro well.
Yeah, I think he had a black man.
And he had it clean shaven. You know, he looked like the perfect recruit for the Territorial Army. up in the north. You know what I mean? Like, you'll do. What do you do? I'm the captain of Liverpool. Yeah, all right, son. Come over here. You know what I mean? And every time he passed it left or right, he was strutting. And he was like, sometimes...
Giving it,
He was giving it with his body language to say, I'm patrolling the midfield. He was trying too much for me. And just...
Do you think that was trying to bring a performance out of himself?
Yeah, he was like, you know, I can imagine him psyching himself up. And then as he walked on the pitch, he was like strutting like a peacock. But I don't think he's
played him back it up.
He played him back it up. That's what I'm saying.
So I've got a question for you, because I heard someone say Klopp should have seen this and brought him off. And whilst a good manager can preempt certain things that might happen on the pitch and take him off, possibly, could it be Klopp giving him the rope to maybe hang himself?
Ooh. To be fair, in the interview, he did say he was looking to take him off, but he just didn't get there in time. Do you think Klopp's that devious to...
I don't think it was that. The thing is, for me, it's not just him, the way he was behaving in terms of his temperament. For me, his performance merited him being taken off. So when you combine that with the stuff he was doing, not controlling himself, not organising. Remember, he's a captain. He should be the one that's organising, speaking to the younger players, and getting them organised and stuff like that. You should lead by example, so to speak. And his performance combined with his anger management on the day meant to me that he should have been taken off.
I thought Ronaldo was poorer than Henderson up until the point Henderson got sent off around that time.
Possibly.
And then Ronaldo had a really strong last 10 minutes of that game.
Possibly.
Forward runs, and he played a little ball down.
Yeah, he pulled the ball to Robertson, yeah.
But I don't know. I think more like what Sam said, that he was trusting him. You don't expect him to do something that crazy. We had cover when the ball was played down the wing for
centre field. It was so unnecessary.
There was no need for that.
And then at the end, obviously he barked. But basically, that day Henderson walked around barking at people, strutting, but not playing tremendously well.
Do you know what? Let's be honest. We all know like the Henderson's days at Liverpool. That's probably numbered.
Hopefully, given
the fact of who we brought in the summer and stuff like that. So maybe that's playing in the back of his mind, and maybe that's why he had that whole attitude of, I'm going to show everybody what I can do and what I'm about. And if I'm honest with you, for the first 20 minutes or so where he was imposing himself on the game, I actually like that. He was a bit of a boss in midfield, if you like, but there needs to be some sort of restraint with it at the same time to not get sent off, because you are the captain. Everyone is looking to you because you are wearing that armband. So yeah, he let himself down, he let the team down, he let the club down.
I said this before, when he's playing well, especially when like a home game against a big team, first hour he can get on the ball and he can play it quite quickly. He actually plays it quicker than Fabinho does a lot.
Yeah, he keeps ticking over.
Especially like the 20-30 yard ball, he plays it quicker than a lot of our midfielders. But by the time it gets to an hour and the adrenaline from the crowd's done, he starts retreating and passing the ball back, and we lose possession, we lose corners, and that's what happened to England in the World Cup. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? When he was on the pitch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I see where you're coming from with that. Okay, boys, enough of the negatives. Let's leave Henderson alone for now. The scoreline was 3-0. Yeah, Salah started off the scoring. It was great to see him back on the score sheet again. And then obviously, like I said, we had that free kick from Alexander-Arnold, which is what I want to touch on. And then obviously we had the goal, even with 10 men. Bobby Firmino got a goal, a long overdue goal for Bobby Firmino. He hasn't scored in a while. But that free kick from Trent, let's just touch on that, boys. Sini, man, talk to me.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I think they done some analysis on it in the studio, and they were saying that his body shape was Beckham-esque. And the way that he shaped his body, the way his hand was in the air, the pivot, everything, the connection that he got on it. It was beautiful, and I think he's shown that he has the ability to get deliveries, provide good deliveries, and he's also shown that he can take some good free kicks as well. So I think that the responsibility now, is between him and Shaqiri. If I'm honest, they look like our two best free kick takers. Yeah. And I feel confident when I see him standing up behind the ball to take a free kick for us, and then off the back of that, that's even more evidence that we should definitely be trusting him when it's in and around the box to have
a pot.
For sure.
Yeah, but Shaqiri has to get on the pitch a bit more often for him to be stepping up to take the free kicks. But
indeed,
we've always got that issue with a few players, but we get onto that.
That's another story. I'm sure we'll touch on in a bit. So overall, the Watford game. Someone give me an assessment of that game.
In the end, I would give it a 7.5. We were. I don't think we're moving the ball as quickly as we need to, and I think it was evident in that game.
Yeah, it was very pedestrian,
especially in the first half. Yeah,
it stayed 0-0.
It was hard. Yeah, it was hard to pick out. I can't recall because Robertson, I think, had a great game in that.
Yeah, he did have a decent.
If I'm not mistaken,
I think on WhatsApp by halftime we were saying that Shaqiri was probably our brightest player.
Yeah, he was trying. He was trying to create something. You know what I mean? I don't think too many of the other players had too much creativity. I think he was obviously the spark, if we did have any in the first half. But it's 3 points. It's 3 points at Watford. Do you know what I mean?
On paper, very tough game.
That's the main thing.
You've got to grind them out sometimes. You know what I mean? It's like I wanted to be frustrated, but I'm trying my hardest to come off the negative tip and appreciate.
It was a more professional game than it was today. This is like Sunday Everton.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Because again, on WhatsApp, everyone was like moaning and I was moaning, but by the 35th minute, that's when we had 3 chances between the 35th minute and 45th minute. All our strikers like Firmino, Salah, and Mane all had a decent chance. And I remember I put on WhatsApp, I was like, you know what? 3 decent chances. They've had 1. Let's see what happens in the second half. And in the end, it was a quite controlled performance. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's a good way to put it. It was a controlled performance. Yeah.
And that formation up to that point, and I don't know if I'm allowed to skip to the PSG in slightly, but
yeah, of course, go ahead.
4-2-3-1. Thus far, we've won every game. I'm pretty sure without conceding. This is the first time playing this formation. Well, okay, I think we ended with 4-3-3 today, but starting the formation, we won 3-0 Southampton, 3-0 Watford. 4-0 against someone.
Cardiff.
That was 4-2-3-1. And I think today as well. This is something
you know
to think about.
You mentioned there it being a controlled performance, and that's a theme I think that we're going to have to get used to, and to coin a phrase from our TalkSport star Slim. The word pragmatic is what you used when you was on the show the other day, and I think it's going to be the way we're going to be playing moving forward until I believe the new year kicks in. And then we're going to try and turn it up a little bit. But these controlled performances are bringing us points.
And also, we were saying, like, because we kept going about when we kick into gear in the media, when Liverpool kick into gear, oh my God. But what if this is our gear now? Because
I truly don't believe it is.
I don't think it is.
You know what?
I don't think it is.
I hope it's not our gear for the fact that it's so hard to watch us play football. Not because it's bad, but because...
It's stop-start. It's not free flowing.
And the agony of waiting for us to score a goal, like my heart can't take it.
Do you think a lot of that is to do with Salah's positioning now? Do you think we could move forward with this formation if we actually had a striker who could hold the ball and bring others into play?
As soon as we're on that whole thing, another thing Sam's brought up, Salah's positioning. Now, Salah a lot seems to be playing in the number 9 role, and I, for one...
In the 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, in a 4-2-3-1 formation, Salah seems to be the one. And I, for one, do not think Salah should be in that number 9
I agree.
role. Because we are now... Stop me if I'm wrong. We're now sacrificing what Firmino brings to the front 3. Yeah, Salah is not a striker, so he doesn't necessarily make strikers' runs.
He's not instinctive.
He's not particularly strong on the ball, and I don't mean size-wise. I mean as in core strength to hold the ball up and bring other people into play. He can't win anything in the air, so the only thing he really gives you is that pace in behind. And our strength, if you ask me, from last season, it was in just pace in behind, but it was coming from out to in, as opposed to being easily marked, just standing in the middle of the goal, and I know you're going to run, so I can catch you offside, or both of us will go with you. Do you see what I mean?
I slightly disagree on his ability to hold up the ball. I think he can. I think the problem is when he does do it, he won't release it. And I don't know why.
How many times have you seen him back into someone,
backing in,
and you think cool, and someone's running, let it go, and he's like he's stud rolling it, so he can turn and shoot,
and then he falls over,
and then the move breaks down. Fucking ball.
No, I agree with you. I just don't think I understand what Sam's saying about us not going, like, I can never say the type of word, what press? What's it called?
Gengen.
There you go. I understand what Sam's saying about that and how we might be holding off into it, but playing Salah through the middle makes no sense to me whatsoever.
I'm still hoping he will switch back, because I think they mentioned today that they changed it because they were afraid that it was getting a bit stagnant or predictable. I didn't see any evidence of that. We were ripping teams apart up until the Real Madrid game, so I'm not sure where this idea comes from.
Yeah, but I think what it was, we ran out of legs in the league, and we were focusing so much on the Champions League that we didn't have the legs to compete. We ended up finishing 4th on the last day of the season. Yeah, and we were putting all our eggs into the Champions League basket, which was fair enough if we didn't want it. But seeing as we didn't, we had to look back on our league form suffered because we'd gone full pelt from the very beginning of the season.
But now that our defence is intact, can't we go back to that, kill teams, and then have a bit of possession?
That would be my ideal way.
Wouldn't we reserve legs? Wouldn't we say?
I guess Klopp doesn't let them go on the pitch and go, be crap. Do you know what I mean?
No. But the point I'm trying to make is that worked. It was working. Now, I'm not saying it shouldn't be tweaked, but maybe the change has been too much. Maybe it should have been an incremental.
Too drastic.
I don't think it's that.
No?
I think when I see the problems with us, it's like 5-yard passes. Do you know what I mean? It always seems to break down. They're making chances here and there, but today, like Mane, for example, 1 minute he made a lovely clip pass for Salah. Next minute he's passed it 4 yards wide of someone. Do you know what I mean? Basic things that will, because obviously you need to pass the A to get to B. And last season that was bang, 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 goal.
Do you know what though? Me, just coming in on that, I don't know if anyone else agrees, with last season, because we were that good with that front three, we didn't miss that, I'm going to say his name, that Coutinho player here. But now it's not, when these guys ain't firing and like you might have, we're just lucky that we got a three that if two are off, you might still have that one that's still got a little bit of something in it. So it might be a Mane or Firmino might be having a good game, but we need that guy that can see the pass and slide that ball into that area
and shoot.
But even that though, it's just we haven't now. Teams know when they defend against us, they can defend against this front three and have like there's a wave. Like today, watching that game, I'm telling you guys now, from playing football, I see it. When you play a team, it's like waves of patterns of play, like And what will happen is as the game's going on, you're thinking, oh, that's all they've got. That's all they've got. So a team sometimes, if they can, like a City are a prime example of this, they can bring on a player that will change the game dramatically. If Mahrez ain't on or Sani ain't on or whatever it is, that guy now on that side of the pitch is going to give that guy a problem now, a different kind of problem.
What you're saying there, Leroy, is bang on. Klopp had an interview with Sky Sports and he's talking about how we've had to evolve as a team.
Okay, yeah.
And I'll quote him. He said, a lot of teams play counter-attack against us. They don't have the same respect for us that they have for City, for example.
Right, yeah.
Against City, you watch and you wonder what they're doing. A week later, they play us and they're thinking, right, let's give it a go.
Yeah.
Right, so it's almost like we have to be pragmatic because they're not as fearful of us. So therefore, to control the game and keep our defensive stability, we've got to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, and if you look at the way, even the small new...
How disrespectful teams can't say How disrespectful what? Because we ain't won the Premier League yet. The teams don't fear us.
Not as much as City, which I think is true.
I kind of get it, but it hurt a little bit.
It is. But we'll make them payment, don't worry.
Because we're... Like,
do you know what? They feared us more last season than they do now.
But that's because we were playing the way we were playing.
And where did it lead us to? That's the point. Yeah. So I think he's being pragmatic and thinking, right, it didn't work for the whole of last season.
What? I do agree with you. I do agree with you, Sam, but I just want us to knock some fear into these teams.
Seriously.
That's what I'm saying. It's a weird thing. It's not just... like, I was just about to say, look, at the end of the game, Trent, like it's 0-0, you're going for 3 points, and there's a throw in here and a corner there where Trent's bending down to adjust his shin pad straps. And I'm like, what's going on? Why are you wasting even a millisecond right now? And then a couple of times, the whole game and a lot of this season, when it's been 0-0 and like the Watford game.
And there's no urgency. Gomez
and Van Dijk, or that day it was Lovren and Van Dijk, very pedestrian-like, passing it side to side. Maybe they've been told to take your time, because if you lose the ball, obviously there's trouble. My issue though is it's the passing of our team, it's the fluency, and like what we said about Salah, when he gets the ball, he rolls it. Now lay someone in. He shoots or something. Mane could be erratic if he's passing, and Firmino's creativity is disappearing. Do you know what I mean?
I think competition could be a factor, because if you look at City, they've got players that they bring on that are challenging and pushing their players.
In the front three,
we pretty much know our starting 11. The whole world knows our starting 11 every game. One or two changes now and again that can catch us by surprise. But who's really being pushed?
Particularly in the front three. The front three have got no competition.
Like their place is really under threat. And when we've spoken about who's been a bright spark, no shock that we constantly come back to Shaqiri, because he's the only guy that's trying to fight for his place.
He's playing for his place.
And I think he really is fighting for his place. When he comes and he wants to start.
Big shout.
So he's fighting for his place, but everybody else is comfortable.
Well, that's the thing is,
we know what substitutions are
coming onto that is, before it was mentioned, it was just in passing that maybe Salah's become a little bit arrogant and a little bit full of himself, and I was like, what's the name? No, but obviously because it was early, I
mentioned that earlier in one of the earlier podcasts.
He's starting to me. He's starting to, the fact that he's been pushed up front, and the whole Ronaldo Messi comparisons. I think it's got to a little bit.
It scares me slightly. If we look at like Shaqiri, like maybe I overthink things, but do you remember last season when Sturridge? You can measure some things in hugs. Klopp hugs.
Yeah.
And Sturridge's hugs were weak, man. Like, he got no, like, decent hugs.
You're proper.
The analysis is quite deep there, Paul.
It's just little things. Do you know what I mean?
You're right, though.
And
You're
Shaqiri has got the same thing. That first time we played 4-2-3-1 this season, with 2 or 3 games into the season, 3-0 at home.
Yeah.
The 3-0 was in the first half when Shaqiri was on the pitch. That free kick that hit the bar.
Yeah,
He got hauled off at half time. Do you remember, was they say tactical or something?
Southampton.
Southampton, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. But
Considering he lets Lallana and some other people.
Peach this, yeah.
Leroy just gets straight away.
Peep this, yeah. Keita started the season, in the free. He started well, whatever, but he didn't really hit the ground. He got injured. If he was playing well, you wouldn't see Shaqiri, because, like we all said just now, he's not troubling that front three.
Yeah.
If Keita was playing world class, we'll be sticking to 4-3-3 right now.
Do you reckon?
100%. And the front three wouldn't be rotated. He just keeps playing them.
Do you know what? I'm glad. I'm glad in a way that he isn't playing well, because I think our best formation is 4-2-3-1. But as I said at the top, that question we need to put Firmino back in the number 9 role, because he is cutting a forlorn figure lately. And I was saying it today. I need him to walk into Melwood, knock on Klopp's door, and say, "Look, boss, I do my best for the team, but I'm not happy in this role," because he doesn't look happy.
So, but go back to the formation. Are we saying that if our team starts in a particular formation, they haven't got the strength or the mindset to change and adapt mid-game?
No, they have, but you've got to play your players in their best position if possible. Like you sometimes put Gomez at right back because you might feel like the opposition's left winger is very tricky and you need someone a bit more defensive minded. That I get, but with your creative players, for me, if they're not playing in their position, then they're just.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm 100% behind you with the whole Firmino move.
And you know what? With Firmino as well, to play into form, he needs to be playing in his favourite position.
Yeah.
And playing him where he is now is even more.
Can I ask a question?
Struggle.
Can anyone explain to me then, why is Salah playing up front in that formation?
Well, this is the question.
Nobody
This is the question.
Nobody knows.
This is the question.
Nobody knows.
I don't get it personally. Looking at, I don't understand what Salah playing in that number 9 role brings to the team. I'm confused.
Has he asked for it though? Has he stated that he wants to play up the top now?
Is he starting to have conversations behind closed doors? He's starting to.
Well, he did an interview, didn't he, before the Everton game today, and I haven't seen it yet.
Right.
I will watch it, but I read some of it today, and he did say one of his goals for this season he doesn't want to speak about. Last season his goal was to break the record and win something, he said. But this season he's not letting anybody know what his goal is. So, you know,
I don't even think he's arrogant actually. I just think
I think he is.
Well, maybe he's gonna.
I think it's growing. I don't think he's necessarily. I don't think it's his natural state as a person, but. Anybody can get an ego. Anybody can get full of themselves. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to be Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to be Tito. I'm just saying. You know.
Because at the beginning of the season, I was thinking, is he putting too much pressure on himself? Remember, he was slapping his thigh. He lost control.
I think I think we could be misconstruing it, because I think a lot of it is the pressure he puts on himself, and to us it comes across as maybe arrogance. I could be wrong as well, but. We know he does put a lot of pressure on it. And you know what? I'm hoping it's the pressure he puts on himself.
Yeah, but you're saying that. But, Paul, you noticed it today. Final whistle, right? Everyone's on the pitch. The subs, everyone. But Salah's not there. Now, he's walked straight down the tunnel and not involved himself in the celebrations. Now, is that A, because he's pissed off that he was hooked? B, because he didn't score today? C, because he's not happy with himself, his own performance? What is it? Or is it just that he's...
It's D. It doesn't matter what his problem is. Get yourself out on the pitch. Get yourself out on the pitch.
Was Mane on the pitch?
Yeah, Mane was there. Everyone was there.
Subs.
No, do you know what? I just thought he might have gone down the tunnel to do his prayers, because you know, like, he's Muslim, he has to pray at certain times and stuff like that. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Do you know what?
I'm trying to bring him in.
What I see with him, I think he don't like the fact when he gets hooked, and then we go on to score because it looks as if.
When did it happen? It happened in in Champions League.
Yeah, it's the same
Champions
sort
League,
of
and he
thing.
threw the water down,
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh, it wasn't me."
I think it's a bit cheese that it's not him. That's the and he's
Yeah, but
come off,
that's
and it's
not
happened
good.
when
If
he's
that's
off.
the case,
So
then
where's your team ethic there, man?
It's mad,
I
isn't
mean,
it? I
come
hope
on.
that's not the case, though. I hope I'm wrong.
After I said that to Chris, and Chris goes, "Well, that's up to Klopp. Needs to talk to him." And I thought, you know what? No, it's not. Klopp can't say to someone, "Enjoy yourself, enjoy your team."
I didn't mean like that.
I'm not cussing you. I'm just
No, what I meant was, I don't like that.
Yeah, no.
I'd say to him straight up, I don't like that. I like your teammates. It's a whole club. It's not just you. It's not just me. It's not Mane. It's the dinner lady. It's everybody.
Yeah,
It's true because you got to remember when we joined, he made the players know the names of every single member of staff in the whole of Melbourne. We're all one family. We're all one club, and. Take aside like the superstar nature of Salah, whatever. He's just part of that. He's just one of the
Exactly,
many
you're a
parts.
cog. You're a cog in the machine.
He's not even a cog. He's one little bit of a cog. You know, like, do you know what I mean? There's so many
Maybe
people.
his sense of self-importance is growing too much. And
Maybe he's hitting the
I'll
bench.
tell you what, him being playing in the 9 is only going to increase that.
Because you know what? Because I was thinking as well, like when I saw him up front. First of all, I thought when I saw it, I went, you know what? Oh, that's good because then he won't have to do too much work. I was wrong. He should be doing the work. He should be humble.
Yeah, of course he should.
Because I guess 4-2-3-1, the three up front, and then you got your two wide centre midfielders to protect you. When 4-2-3-1, you're gonna have to work a bit more because it's like basically turns into a 4-4-2, isn't it?
I genuinely think he needs to ride the bench. He needs to ride the bench for a game or two.
That's the thing though.
No.
Ride
the bench. Humility is a big thing. It doesn't matter. Other people can score.
That can go one of two ways. That can go one of two ways. He could humble him. And
Chris
he
is
could
a
come
hard task for saying.
Make
him sit on the bench. Just like that. Just like that.
Yeah, but
Raw, come
one
on,
of two
man.
ways. It either humbles him or it upsets him and makes him vexed, bruv. And in January he's talking about.
Well, I tell you what. For me, if it makes him vex, we are Liverpool. Here's your suitcase. Here's your passport. Bounce.
Okay, we've got to be careful.
Okay, Chris.
You know what?
Go viral.
You know what?
It's not.
I get what you're saying. No one
Exactly.
saying
That was Chris, not Anfield South. That was Chris.
Salah, we love you. Let's have a little talk. Yeah.
I love it. I'm not saying I don't rate Salah.
Yeah. Move your chair from just a little bit.
I'm not saying I don't rate Salah. I'm not saying I don't appreciate him as a player. And I don't, but at the same time,
well, no one man's bigger than the club.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I see your point.
That's all I'm saying.
You should have started with that as your disclaimer.
Someone put on Billy.
Sorry. I channeled my pups in there, man. He'd be throwing shoes and all them things by now, man. Maybe Scott needs to do for a shoe at him.
Let me shuffle this on. Yeah. After all that jovial banter and all of that, I'm gonna bring us down because I'm gonna talk about the Champions League game. Yeah. PSG away. Yeah. That game. You know what? Jumping on it.
Spark it off.
I love some of that. Do you know what? Yeah. Firstly, I was pissed with the result. Who wouldn't be pissed? But then I went to bed and I sat up that night. I sat up and I thought, do you know what? Now you lot might shoot me for this. I don't know, but I sat there and I thought, realistically, at the beginning, I was saying to you guys at the house as well about our squad. Before actually, I don't know. I was under this thing that thinking, yeah, we got a half decent squad this season. But actually, you guys are touching already by saying about our front threes, no competition. Certain areas, certain man.
Let me jump on you. You could go back to it. But I was thinking about the competition for the front three. When Firmino was playing up front seasons past, when Coutinho was in, he didn't have any competition for his place, and he was still firing on all cylinders. I just think the happiness is more important of the front three than necessarily the competition. But that's just my opinion. But go on anyway, Lee. Go on.
All right, there. So anyway, going to my main thing really was that the fact that I was thinking to myself, realistically speaking, are we equipped, to deal with
Champions League and
the Prem? The only thing really I would expect, which I would have liked, is if we could have gone through to the knockout stages with no issues, and then whatever happened after that happened.
Yeah.
If we went and played the next, it's going to sound like a cop-out, but if we went into the knockout stages and we got a side and we lost over 2 legs convincingly, whatever, I'd be like, cool, whatever. The longer City stay in that thing, the better, because realistically, they are equipped
to deal with
this thing. We ain't there.
Yeah, we're not built like
We're
that.
not there.
Sam said it already. Look what happened last
But that's
season.
I
Sam
agree
said
with
it
him.
already.
I said it early stages, and you look like, you don't
No,
think
but
the Champions League's
I
important.
just don't want to go to Europa, because you go to that and that's Thursday nights now.
I agree.
Smash up the whole dance now.
I agree and disagree what you're saying. In that we could have maybe had one more attacking option, maybe for Care thing. We don't know what happened with that really. However, if you notice the pattern in Europe between the big clubs, it's very difficult now for teams to win both their domestic and the Champions League in the top leagues. If you look at Real Madrid, when they won it last year, obviously they were atrocious in their own league, and that's a 2-horse race. So I think it is a difficult task. Saying that, we could have had maybe one, being greedy, extra attacker, a genuine number 10.
Do you know what though? Again, all right, coming back to this, so for me, sides like PSG, in their league, they could put out a second string side, win that game, and go into a Champions League game fresh. I'll go to who else is there? Bayern, same thing. Like these guys actually have their leagues locked up towards the business part of the Champions League,
and then winter break as well.
It's crazy. Like, we're like battling.
Premiership is difficult,
and it's crazy. The Spanish league's a little bit different now, because there is a little bit more competition. So you've got Atletico Madrid, you've got Real Madrid, and then you've got Barcelona. In and around, you might have a Villarreal, whoever, like, you know what I mean? It's not, you got that. But realistically, even their one's not as crazy as the Prem. That's me personally anyway. Like, I keep bringing it back to them, but I can't. The only thing I see with City is their defence is probably, if they get one or two injuries in there, then I think that could be something that could work for us. Well, but until then,
you know what? You bring me on to my next point. Yeah,
sorry,
no, that's fine. You bring me on to my next point nicely. Yeah, we talk about strength and depth, like, and especially in midfield. Now, the midfield we started with on what was it, Tuesday night? Yeah, for that Champions League game was Henderson, Milner, and Ronaldo.
It's the same.
And when that team sheet came out in the group, there was a lot of grumbles, a lot of groans,
big time.
Because I think we all know that midfield is workmanlike and will give you 100%. I mean, if it was slavery, you'd have those three on your cotton fields all day, wouldn't you? Because you know what I'm saying?
That was a big analogy. Wow.
So Winnie's a cotton picker now, yeah?
So is Henderson, and so is Milner. It's got nothing to do with colour. Yeah, it's nothing to do with colour.
Quality slavery.
High five. Yeah, quality slavery. I like that. No, anyway, that three will give you work for days, but creativity, zero.
Well, let's just use our.
So wait, hold on.
Sorry,
hold on. So I'm asking the question: have we got enough depth, especially in midfield, in our squad?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think so?
Yes, you just can't play those
three midfielders that we were moaning about. Like,
you've asked that question as an overall squad, not individually areas of the pitch.
No,
maybe in midfield we do.
No, but as a squad, but even just in midfield, I still don't think we have enough depth. I don't think we have enough creativity in midfield. Yeah, we've got a lot of numbers, a lot of bodies, but half of those bodies are no good.
It depends on who's playing.
Half of those bodies are the same.
It depends on who's playing, and it depends on what position those players are playing.
That doesn't equal depth, because our best midfield. Correct me if I'm wrong. If we were playing a three in midfield, I'd have Fabinho, Keita, and Wijnaldum. Arguably, Henderson and Milner, they could drop off the face of the earth tomorrow, and I wouldn't miss them.
In a three, I'd put Milner in there.
So, but my point is that depth? Is that depth? We've got bodies to replace.
Well, you have to remember,
but the depth, the quality of what we.
I know what you're saying, but I think in the back of my mind, when you say that is City, I think City are a freak situation. I don't think you can, because if you look at the top teams throughout Europe, besides City, if you look at like Barcelona and stuff like that, they haven't got an infinite supply of creative players that will come into the team.
But they got two at least, though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we got two. We could say
players.
We got
Keita and Shaqiri are very creative players.
Come on, man. Do you know what?
No.
You know what?
Beef.
That's a shout, right? But you know why I'm a bit hostile towards that, because Keita hasn't done it yet.
Exactly, but
he's not done it yet. So that's why I'm a little bit hostile. And I'm not putting him down.
Your question is
it answers my question.
Yeah,
You're right.
Because remember, it's on paper. You can say on form, perhaps.
Because
on form, you're right. Because for me,
But
Kane was pretty rubbish.
I'll quote an old adage: "The game isn't played on paper."
Look, let's go back to Roma at home Champions League semi-final, right? Oxlade-Chamberlain got injured. He was in that midfield.
Yeah, we are missing that.
In my head, I actually think that midfield three was what we've had last year. I was like, they were so brilliant. No, actually, they only played at the end of the season, really. You know what I mean? And then Ronaldo came and played well. Then he went number 6 against City away. No, it was doing that before anyway. But my point is, those three midfielders, since they've been together, we've lost quite a few games. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? The worst games have been with those three playing, especially away from home. They've got no creativity. I mean, you're going to back me up on that?
I went to the game against Paris Saint-Germain. That midfield destroyed them last time, though. It's the same midfield, though, no?
At home. But home.
At home, and it was high octane. It was just pressure. Yeah. It wasn't. There was no creativity. Same way, but it was workhorses and energy.
Yeah. Check what I said before. About Henderson. He was in that midfield. When Henderson, what I like about him, he when he's not barking at people, when he's defending, he's humble, and he's just doing his job. First hour, he's on it. Fizz, 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 fizz. Once the tide turns a bit and the crowd a bit quiet and the adrenaline's not there, his technique suffers. You know what I mean? Because he's not using his emotional, power to get through the game. That's when he loses possession. That's when he passes. Sometimes he fucking hammers the ball back to people. His own players.
Yeah, and he's like, what are you doing?
Do you know what I mean? So that game, if you remember, it went to 2-2. Probably after the hour.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The PSG game at home.
Yeah, at home. Do you know what I mean?
Like we sailed through like how they did against us. It was nip and tuck.
So in the summer on WhatsApp, we all talked about, because Chris was the first one to start about Henderson, and he was talking about the way he turns on the ball. Do you know what I mean? Well, if a defender, if you've got a right back and left back or centre back, and you pass to your anchor man, the guy needs to turn sometimes. Turn and look forward and just pass it through the lines.
That's one of the main problems you have when you play that midfield three is that Milner and Henderson in particular, Henderson has lost a step. I think he's lost a step in terms of his pace, and they lack agility, meaning that they can't move in tight spaces or on a sharp on a sixpence. You know what I mean? Yeah, so if you look at what PSG were doing, I would say this. I don't rate that PSG team. I think they're distinctly average apart from the front three.
He's special though.
I will say that, but
he bossed that game.
When they started countering us and they were doing a little 1-2s, obviously it's difficult to keep up with, but our midfield players didn't have the agility to turn in sharply or the pace to track them back. Henderson spent half the game reaching out for somebody's shirt to pull.
It's true.
It's true. You know what? I don't want to make this a Henderson podcast, yeah. We know what he.
No, but it's Klopp's fault.
Let
me clarify that. Sorry, Slim. Let me just say, I blame that result on Klopp because he picked the team. I'm not gonna go mad at Henderson.
Do you know? And that leads perfect onto what I think about that game. The selection from Klopp was wrong, right? If you check it, that PSG game was a free game. I know it sounds mad. It was a free game because whatever the result in that game, we knew if we won or if we lost. If we go back home, and that's at home, we just win that game and we're through, yeah? And we obviously, the atmosphere at Anfield and all that blah, 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 we all know that side of stuff. But what my point is, yeah, he should have sent out his best attacking players to go toe-to-toe with PSG and go for it. Because if we win that game, it takes the pressure off.
Yeah, but you know what? This is...
Hold on. But as those of you who follow my career in the media... Why are we laughing?
10%, yeah? 10%. I'm on agent duties. You're the greatest, Slim. You're the greatest. You're the greatest. Shout out to Jason Gundy, Andy Durham, and your colleagues at TalkSport.
Anyway, as I was saying, those of you who follow my career in the media would have heard me say on TalkSport, Sports Bar, yeah, alright, that Klopp was very pragmatic in that game.
This is why I want to jump in.
Because, he thought, play that workman-like midfield, close them down, nick the ball, counter, score a couple goals.
This is what scares me, right? And this is my psychology, COD psychology, yeah? Klopp has somehow managed to make this midfield free by picking him in certain games, giving everyone, supporters and the media especially, the illusion that midfield is solid. That midfield is not fucking solid.
Well, he had a pop at the press.
You know what I mean? That midfield is what on paper is very professional in terms of individuality. They're probably first on the training ground last night. You can depend on them. That's fair. They're not a fucking solid midfield. They're not.
Plus-
so how is a world class? I think it's a world class manager fallen for a trick like that. He's fucked himself in the head. That's what I personally think. Do you know what I mean?
I would agree with you. I'd agree with you on that.
Real midfield has to be Fabinho.
Yeah, but you got to understand, he has brought those players in mind to change and manipulate the way our midfield is. It's just taken longer to integrate it because of Fabinho getting up to speed, the Keita out of form and injury, and he hasn't been able to play them together. And who knows? This might have been his plan all along when we're moving to 4-2-3-1 to have Keita and Fabinho as the two.
Yeah, but
we don't know that until they're both in form and they're both actually got consecutive games behind them. We don't know.
Why not flip the sides? So why not play the Keita and the Fabinho in the European game where their attributes are more likely to be utilised, suited, and play the workman in the derby? Yeah. When you need to kick somebody.
No. That's the trick. That's the trick again. There is that midfield.
Come on, Minnie, get out there, kick him.
It's not working. It's not solid. It might be.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm just giving it a scenario in this situation. No, I don't want them guys near the team. You know my thoughts on that already. I'm just saying, if you were going to do it, if you want to play them in the derby. Don't play them in the European game when you need players like Keita you can turn and drift past people and create something rather than put
and keep possession. Keep possession of the football. Like this has been saying since James Milner's had an illustrious career, but when I watched James Milner play football, right, and especially when he was in the two sometimes, last couple of years ago for Liverpool.
Sorry, folks, I don't know, if you could see us, which you will be able to see us because there will be visuals on the next podcasts without fail, but we're all sitting around listening to Paul talk like we're around the campfire because when Paul talks, it's just like you're in awe of him.
It's only because he reads The Guardian. That's
I don't read The Guardian.
He's at an intellectual level that some of us are just trying to be at. No, I'm joking. What I was
going to say is, and we were saying about agility, you must see it. He kind of runs in straight lines. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be able to get the ball, receive it, and
on the half turn,
dip your shoulder a little bit and look. Play it or look and play it. For the viewers,
he's doing all kinds of mad thing in there. He's in there voguing. He's in there voguing right now.
That's why at the beginning of the season when we played 4-3-3, he literally and then you got everything's covered on the pitch. He had his own train line, his own special train line that was going up and down one part of the pitch, and it was perfect because he didn't need to come off the track. Do you know what I mean? Because other parts of the track are covered. Do you know what I mean? But when you play someone who can pass it around you and make you have to come off that track, it's trouble. You derail.
I was wondering where he's going with the analogy, but he brought it home.
Like that. Well, boys, I think it's safe to say none of us were happy with not necessarily the result of the PSG game, but the performance of the PSG game. Because, I mean, let's be honest. As much as I don't feel PSG are all that and a bag of chips, they're still a great team, especially at home. I mean, is it the Parc? What's it? The ground called again?
Parc de Paris.
Yeah, there we go. Parc de Paris. The stadium was absolutely rocking that night. The noise was amazing. So they
celebrities in attendance.
Yeah, celebrities in all of that, and it was quite. I wouldn't say it was hostile, but
I think they were there for the taking, though.
Yeah, no, they were. But what I mean is, they had the crowd behind them. They were going. They went for it because they could have. I think could they have got knocked out as well if they lost the game? So
they were up for it.
They were up for it.
Can't beat everyone.
They were up for it, but it's fair to say that from a Liverpool point of view, we didn't turn up and we can play better. Klopp could have picked a better team for that game.
That's what frustrated me.
I think we're all I think that's the thing that's the most frustrating. Team
and this
selection.
is what, just for listeners again, and we talked about this before when we started the podcast. We'll be candid here. When we talked about, it's not really exciting yet, but we realised that Arsenal TV was brilliant because they were losing all the time. Yeah. But we said we would be happy to have boring podcasts if we're winning. Do you know what I mean? And when we lose games, every armchair supporter out there thinks they've got the solutions. So viewers, listeners, we do love Liverpool and we're not jumping on them. We're
offering opinions of how to fix what we perceive as going wrong.
And this is high standards now. We're top of the league. We're second, 2 points off the top.
But also, viewers, if you have an opinion and you feel we're wrong, and you want to let us know what you think about it, feel free to at us on Instagram. It's Anfield_South1, or on Twitter it's @SouthAnfield, or leave a comment on the YouTube channel and we'll see that and we'll put it in the next podcast and we'll address that. Do you know what I mean?
Also,
Or you might even
agree.
get brought into the actual Anfield South WhatsApp group.
Exactly.
There's
And,
that
and
as well.
understanding that we're from ethnic backgrounds and sometimes love means jumping on people's necks. This is what our parents did to us. And it's what we'll do to our team because
Disclaimer: I wasn't abused as a child.
we love you, Liverpool. So if you get a shoe thrown at you or like a hammer or something,
It's all love.
it's all love, baby. You know what I mean? It's all love.
Chris suffered.
Okay, boys.
Who's the last one? I didn't get it, mate. My parents were tired by the time they got to me.
Seeing as
Same here, youngest privileges.
Seeing as we're all feeling jovial, we might as well talk about today's game, yeah? Merseyside derby, Liverpool Everton, you know.
Wow.
Little brother, as we like to call them. The lineup today was back to the usual line.
What we
We
wanted.
4-2-3-1 today. Again, with Salah playing in the number 9 role. Now, we won't go over that again. You know how we feel about Salah in the number 9 role. But, Sini, talk to me. Tell me about today's game, man.
Do you know what? It was a bit frustrating watching it a bit. I feel like we was giving Everton a bit too much respect, but at the same time, I think it's the best Everton team that we played.
Yeah, in a long time.
In terms of football, and I think at the beginning we had Everton under pressure. They couldn't get out of there after they were pinned in, and I think we just needed to capitalise a little bit of quality in the final third, in that first 10 to 15 minutes, and I think we killed the game. And I think that's what we have to do. We have to capitalise.
Yeah.
When you have your momentum...
Mane had some chances, didn't he?
when you have your momentum, Shaqiri's chance as well. When you have your momentum, you have to go for the
critical,
juggler and you have to kill.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what it does is it breeds confidence in the other team.
Yeah.
And that's what happened throughout the game. Everton grew in confidence.
They
And
had
then
a
you
couple
can see,
chances, didn't they?
exactly. They had a few chances. And we had all the play in the beginning, but they had the best chances.
Yeah, I mean,
Getting off the line.
Yamina,
Gomez.
is it Yamina? He had that header.
Exactly.
He should have done 100 times better than that.
I'm telling
And
you.
then you had
Gomez.
Gomez.
Yeah, Gomez
yeah,
had the
the
chance,
line.
yeah.
I'm trying to think who could.
Gomez
I think it was
headed it.
Gomez headed it and Gomez
Gomez.
cleared it off.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah,
Gomez.
yeah,
Gomez.
yeah,
You're
Gomez,
right.
Gomez.
Yeah. So they did have some. I would argue
They
say
played well.
they probably had the better chances, like you said.
Because
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Walcott
Walcott
kind of trying to...
No, I think we didn't. I think I'd have to give them credit. Thinking back over the game now, I think although we weren't great, I do think you have to give Everton some credit because let's be honest, they've been pathetic for the most of the times they've come to Anfield and at their own game, to be honest with you. But today,
They came to play.
they seem like they had a decent. Silva's doing
Must have a good team.
it's a good team lineup.
That was
So
a
credit to the
derby.
opposition. Credit to the
Closest
opposition.
derby I can remember
That's
watching.
one of the
at
hardest
times
games we've
at
had this
Anfield.
season.
But you still lost.
Do you know what?
City.
I think usually in the derby the result doesn't match the performances of
Yeah.
both teams. Like last year it was 1-1, whatever, and they had that penalty, that Rooney
Yeah,
penalty.
we were all
I
over
think
them that
we
game.
were all over them. We deserved to win that game. Whereas today, I think the result doesn't match the performance. The result, a draw, exactly, Sini. A draw, we would have been upset because we'd have lost ground to City, X, Y, and Z. But if we were honest about it, a draw would have been fair.
Fair result,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But we don't care about fair because we want them 3 points.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because we need to keep touch with Man City, and
Do you know what I mean?
think we said it before in previous podcasters, and listeners of the podcast will know. Yeah, Leroy's famous line: "If Divock Origi is the answer, what is the question?" And I think that's
Divock
one of the
come
great-
up trumps
I think
today,
that's-
bro.
But Divock today. The question was, we need a top striker, and the answer was Divock Origi today, and he came up with the goods.
Come out looking like Whoopi.
Yeah.
I listened to that podcast. I was hoovering my car. I listened to that podcast when Leroy said that, and I fully agreed with him because that was in response to the Red Star game,
Yeah.
where we kind of went. The Klopp substitutions ended up with Origi, but Sturridge came off at half time.
People.
And I remember thinking, well, Sturridge just come off at half time, but he didn't have like the best. What I like is when a player's playing like it's like a striker and it doesn't work out for them and they change the team around them. I think that striker who started the game has a right to have 5 minutes with the new team or something.
I see what you mean.
Do you know what I
The
mean?
service is better. Someone on that is on his wavelength.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I understand.
understand what you said there.
I understand.
And and it's true. I did want Moreno to come on at one station.
Why are you trying to upset Crystal, man?
I know.
There's no need.
I just thought because at that time, because what happened? I was looking at pace because we ended up at a time. Klopp smashed it in the end, didn't it? Because this is the like
Klopp got lucky.
he got lucky, but he's like he
Did he get lucky or did he make his own luck?
He made his
If
own
he didn't
luck.
bring on
Lucky,
Divock,
mate.
He made
if he
it.
didn't bring on
got
Divock, who else would have followed that up?
Those guys wouldn't have gone in on that.
Yeah, even Sturridge stopped.
He picked the
You're
team.
right, Leroy.
He picked the team that we all wanted. A 4-2-3-1.
With all the
Either Ronaldo and Fabinho or Keita and Fabinho. So
Yeah.
I'll take Ronaldo's had a decent season. Well, he played. No, he's had a good season.
yeah,
Alright,
Let's not do winning today.
We're
Yeah,
not
but
going to
he
do winning
picked the
today.
team we wanted.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And it
yeah.
wasn't. And so I'm not even sure if when Keita came on, it actually went to a 4-3-3 or.
I don't know. We were trying to work out what formation he
Yeah,
went to.
I when the changes happened, it seemed to go a little bit skew with in the
Yeah.
formation wise. It takes a little while for it to get settled down, and then I don't think it settled down today because we were so desperate for that goal. I don't know what we were
Yeah, I
playing in
don't
the
know what's going on. And then
end.
Salah obviously was up front, and then who was one of the first subs? Shaqiri. Shaqiri is one of the first subs. So that right side was vacated. Do you know what I mean? And Firmino came over to it, and I was thinking, why has not Salah gone there? You know, like, have the pace on the flanks. Then Salah came off, and that's when the second sub happened, and the last sub was like, you might as well bring Origi.
Yeah, Salah came off. Came off for
So you might as well bring Origi.
Sturridge,
Just
yeah,
for a
and
bit
then
of pace.
Origi came on for Firmino. But his first touch on the ball
Down the wing.
Yeah.
that was excellent.
Yeah, you know,
Decent run.
That was excellent.
Yeah.
It was got it out of his feet, and is it? And he whipped it in, and it just eluded Mane, and they got a corner off of it.
positive
But,
impact from the off.
go on, Lee. You want to say?
No, I was going to say, but that's bringing me back to similar to what we've been talking about already. But why don't we have this thing where we used to have Mane and Salah, but when they were out on the wing, they were pretty much hugging the touchline, like on the paintwork.
I've said that
and that
many a time.
stretches and that
Yeah,
isolates
many a
that defender there. Now he's in a place that he doesn't want to be in. Because now what will happen is he'll be calling over his centre back to go half and half.
Gaps.
So now it's another gap now.
In the
So now
middle.
do you see what I mean? We're not pulling teams anymore. We're not stretching them.
It's too
You don't
easy.
have to go like pace. And
That all revolves around the fact that
I think
Salah's
it's
playing
because-
That's
tonight.
exactly what I'm saying.
Which is why we've been saying that Firmino needs to go back.
It's
in the
essential.
number 9
So that's what I'm
man.
trying to say. As good as Mane and Salah are attacking the goal, I've watched the game and thought many occasions they need to play like wingers at times. You know what I mean? Stretch.
Well, I agree with you, but I feel Mane still does.
No, yeah, Mane does more. There's a hell of a lot.
The problem is not with Mane.
Salah.
I just want that to be on the record.
Klopp and Salah.
Klopp and Salah. There's a relationship between those two. Things being said between those two that we're not privy to, obviously. And for me, it's to the detriment of the team. This is what's causing us to not score so many goals, and what's causing Firmino to look like he's.
I think it was the game when we
like.
played against City away in the Champions League, second leg, when he kind of went central in the second half and he scored. And then since then, he's like, I'm going to do that every so
It
often.
can't be because of one game though, Paul.
I don't know, what can I say?
You might be right, but I just thinking it can't be that simple.
Was it Roma as well?
It was the Roma game, yeah, when he scored one through the middle.
Also, like,
when he dinked over.
Yeah, when he dinked over Alisson, yeah.
Salah last year, he scored goals where, like, everything he's getting, even when he plays on the right, he's looking for balls in the channels. Do you know what I mean? Which is great, but mix it up a bit. Like, Mane at least will come, him and Robertson's partnership, bloody hell.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
It's like
Excellent. Yeah,
twins, you know what I mean? But I thought Trent and Salah were showing decent
understanding
as well last year, but now it's been disrupted.
But the thing is, we're sitting here and we're talking about Salah going back out wide, and we're saying, we said earlier about maybe it's Salah's attitude, blah, 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 he's demanded it, but could it just be how Klopp wants to do it?
It's probably Klopp. It's like Klopp's probably thought, you score loads of goals, you're pacey. I just don't understand why, even in the 4-2-3-1, I don't get why he won't play him wide.
Do you reckon that it's a response to the lack of supply from midfield? Because that was what we've been labelled in the beginning.
Depends what he picks.
It depends what he picks. But in the beginning, we're saying that obviously the same front three were playing, but they weren't scoring, they weren't firing on all cylinders. And then he was saying that, look, the supply from behind, you're only as good as the supply you're getting, regardless of who you put up there. If you ain't giving them the ball or giving them the supply for them to feed off, there's not much they can do. So do you think in response to that, Klopp's thought, all right, do you know what? I ain't got the players, or in his mind, he thinks he hasn't got the players to play those balls through. He didn't get Fekir, we ain't got Ox, and Shaqiri is sometimes, she ain't fully convinced in him. So you think that he said, let me put Salah in a place where he's going to be more likely to be in a goal-scoring position.
I think you're
as
right,
opposed to
yeah.
him being on the wing, waiting for
you could-
someone to play a ball through where it's not going to come through.
Although he did buy Keita.
Yeah, but
He
you've
did
got
buy Keita, but Keita hit the ground
Sini,
running.
you've got a point there. You have got a point there,
He
but
hasn't hit the ground running.
It's not right. You've got a point
I
there,
agree,
but
it's not
it's
right.
not.
But
It's
do you
still
think
not
that's
right.
what
It
he's
could
done?
be. It could be his thinking.
That's
It
why
could
he
be.
might have done it.
It could be a psyche because he thought, you know what, if I get Firmino back, Firmino could be the one to link the play with the front three, if you like,
Yeah,
or whatever,
whatever
or two, whatever you
yeah.
want to call it. But he's been doing it for long enough, and it's not working now, and it's affecting Firmino, who for me has been one of our best
He was
players
integral last
for
year.
the
He was the key
last
man.
couple of seasons.
He went through him.
I think exactly, and I think once you can see that affecting Firmino, you've got to say to yourself, right,
Let's switch it
go
back.
back now.
It's got to go back.
It's got to go back.
I know we
Do you know
don't
what? It's
talk
almost
about.
like Salah's taken on more importance than
Yeah,
Firmino.
yeah.
And Firmino's always been the most important of the front three.
Yeah.
But
Always.
you know what? For me today, looking at Firmino, I look at him and I'm like, I don't like the look of this, because this is when you start going home and you go like, oh babes, man, I don't really had a bad day at work today, man. I'm not enjoying it there anymore, you know. And you start saying, I think I might look for another job, you know. And then you just in the back of your mind, you're looking for something else, and then you get that magic text if you're self-employed like me, and you know that building site comes up when it's a £1 an hour more. And you're thinking, oh, it's closer to home, or you know, something like that. For him, for Firmino, it'll be it's more sunny.
I thought you were a sports broadcaster.
Nice.
Roadside commentary.
You know what I mean, though? Like, and he starts looking at the sun, and then he ends up next minute we're hearing these rumours linked with this Spanish club. Or
No,
whatever.
it's true. And
Do you see what I
I
mean?
thought it'd have been quite seamless with Firmino, and he didn't. And he was playing well. When we beat Southampton, and a couple other games, he played pretty decent. But yeah, he's not really in, because he was playing like a false number 9. You start high up the pitch, then you come deep. From high up the pitch, but now he's starting
deep,
quite high up, quite deep anyway,
Yeah.
and coming even deeper.
Yeah. I've seen him on top of the back four sometimes. It's ludicrous.
Left back, right back, making
one of our
challenges.
best goal scorers, and he's so far back. What
Sacrificing so much for the team.
That's what
Yeah,
I mean,
we need to put him higher up the pitch. The only person who wants to see him deeper is probably his missus. That's it. We know we don't normally talk about other teams, but Kante, I see the same thing. Pull Kante out of his position. Chelsea.
Yeah, that's a great
And
shout.
he looks like a completely different player now. It's not the same effect.
Well, do you know what?
Do you know
We're
what I
going to
mean?
talk about Kante just quickly. He provided an excellent goal for Chelsea today. He
Yeah.
nicked the ball high up the pitch off Fulham. Admittedly, it was Fulham. He nicked it and he ran. He was edge of the centre circle. He ran, and I think he laid it off. I can't remember who he laid it off to. And then they scored. So he's adjusting to his position, Kante. But Firmino, we don't want him to adjust because we lose too much.
So you're talking about adjusting. Is anybody concerned with Klopp's insistence on, like, we're more than a third of the way through the season of trying to eat people into the game? Like, I'm a big Keita fan. I don't know. I've championed his cause from before he got to the club. People are talking about his form, and he's had a few injuries. But given that most players need about 6 months to get established in the league, do you not think Klopp's management of him in particular has been a bit off? Because I find players like Hendo or Lallana will have bad games and have back-to-back games, whereas...
Okay, I get your point. I see what you're saying, but the reason why I'll kind of let it slide with Klopp is because Andy Robertson, he bought him, he didn't play him. When he put him in, he was fire. He still is fire. He's Robotron 3000. Yeah, so I have to give Klopp the leeway, the benefit of the doubt, shall I say, that whatever's going on with Keita and Fabinho, that Klopp's got it right.
It's frustrating, though. It's frustrating.
When they do come on, to me personally, I don't see the
Although
problem.
today, I don't. Oh, that's a good point. Today,
it was hard to throw Keita into that environment.
Yeah,
so
it
I
was
think
hard.
against PSG, he stood out when he came on.
Definitely.
And that cameo was like, okay, he's going to start for the derby. He's got to start for the derby. And then he was on the bench, and we're like, oh.
But then you got to say it's a derby, and the intensity of it. Is he ready for that intensity
From the start, probably.
From the start.
Yeah, from the start, but to come into that game is so difficult. I for a midfielder.
And
Because the
also-
game passes you by anyway.
Won't it affect his confidence long term though? If he's getting 15, 20 minutes and then not playing again for
I
another
don't
two
think
games.
so. He's new to the club. He knows he's got competition for his place. I don't think it's going to affect him that much because he knows he's going to be a mainstay. Come on, he's in training with Henderson and Milner. And
could he not? Maybe,
and he knows he's going to be getting a place in that team soon.
Maybe him and Fabinho are not pulling up trees in training. I don't know. But
that's another
for me,
we don't know.
For me, it's taking a bit long now. I understand what Chris is saying. Like Robert, we saw the Robertson thing, and must mean who else? Has there been another player we've had?
I think Ox.
And Ox. So Robertson and Ox took a while to come into the team. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't work with everyone. That's like something that Klopp's with his methods. I mean, like I said, I think he's the best attacking coach in the world. But look, no one was scouting Mane before we bought him, and no one was scouting Salah. Look at him now. That's Klopp's influence. Do you know what I mean? Klopp's the man in that regard. But
United won him there.
Yeah, he said United the year before. But then again, who wants to play for United?
But when we bid for him, there was no counter.
No, big up United. Big up United though. They did salvage a point away to Southampton.
United. But I think maybe he's following this like a trend that he made himself, which I'll wait till it's precise and it's all good. I think they need to be thrown in now. They need 2, 3, 4 games to see what they can do.
No, I agree.
And also, and it needs to be done soon. Because otherwise, I think this 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3 thing. If it's going to be a debate, in Klopp's mind,
do you know what though, Paul? The issue we're going to have is we're in December now, Christmas period, loads of games. They're not going to get thrown in because the volume of games. He's going to change it consistently.
If you don't play him now, every time we get to a big game, like United's coming up, they can't play a United game because they're not ready yet. And then it's another big game, we can't play in that game because play them. Yeah. If they fail, play them again. See what they're about. Don't just because.
You fully would do that with the English midfielders.
Lallana and Hendo and all these guys that are just dead.
But you can't say that because he knows what those English midfielders give him. No. They've got the Premier experience. No, but I'm just saying. And Ronaldo, he knows what he's getting from them boys. Maybe he doesn't sure what he's going to get from those boys. Do you see what I'm saying? So which is why he's not throwing them in.
Yeah, but it's only one way to find out.
We've got 2 games this week.
I'm all for throwing them in though. Let that be noted that I am all for them starting and then whatever happens.
What happens? You throw them in and we watch the game and then man get ripped. 2 games ripped. Then what happens? Because you're losing ground, innit?
Then
if you go with what you know for the time being. I'm as frustrated as you, Chris. I'll be honest. But one thing I have learned with this thing is patience. Yeah, and it's a key factor here.
Good point, Leroy.
If you just throw these guys in, and it can go 2 ways. Because if it goes wrong,
then it's a problem.
And their confidence is not. Then how mad is it after that? It's mad. You spend X amount of players on these guys, and now it's like, everyone will be like, they're not worth the money, and it's all wrong now.
And that's maybe why we've got 36 points from 14 games. Because he's been like, pragmatic. Yeah, slow, not taking gambles. People like we said today, Trent doing his socks. 2 seconds to go after the roll like that before I take this free kick.
You know what it is? I will admit, part of my frustration is I've got, like I said, I've got little problems with certain players. Hendo being one of them. Not that I think he's a terrible player. I just think for us, he's the ultimate momentum killer. I think he's reluctant to trust his teammates and play.
I think it's himself,
Yeah, he doesn't trust himself. It's not his teammates. He doesn't trust himself.
I swear to God, Chris. I swear. If you watch him, if you watch this guy, I don't mean to cut you in. If you watch him, like a guy might be just over where the door is, and he's got to play that ball. But then even if he plays it, like he should be able to play a ball through that guy into that space for that guy to run onto. But he's shook because he doesn't know if he can put enough legs on that pass to make it. So then he goes for the easy option. Boom, I'll go here. And he'll get the ball back, and then he'll play it there. But really, he needs to go up there. And he's not brave enough.
He won't trust.
But he don't trust
time
himself.
and time again, I've seen him. He won't trust. Maybe it's himself.
I don't know about the player.
If there's an opposition player within 2 meters of one of his players, he won't. And we need a player that can pass the ball to that player standing in between the lines, receive it on the turn, or spread it left or right, so you catch people out of position. Yeah, the problem with Henderson is that he takes.
Have we gone back to Henderson again?
That's what I was going to say.
Sorry.
When did you start with again, Chris?
Sorry, it's my bad. But it's just,
let's not do the Henderson.
It's frustrating because it just frustrates me.
Hold on. But what? So while we're on the subject, of blooding players in, we have to stand up and pay attention to Harry Wilson because that guy, he's our player. He's on loan at Derby at the moment, and admittedly, the Championship isn't the same level as the Premier League, but the quality of goals...
Takers.
The quality of goals is scoring. Now, with Firmino, not firing, Salah trying in the number 9 role. I was thinking about, do we need to buy another striker? But then I started to think to myself, hold on a minute, do we need to recall our striker?
Can't recall him.
You can't recall him.
Is his loan? Is it full season loan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brewster should be fit by January, February anyway.
But Brewster's not going to come into the team and going to be running through injured a lot of time.
Brewster's an IQ guy, you know. He's trust me, that guy he's got
Oh,
a
you
big
like
brain.
Brewster?
Brewster is big. Let me tell you this, no people. Big. big you. IQ, I've seen him play. Pace, power, both feet, head. And you can hear me talking about football IQ. You can't put price on it. For me, he's one of them guys. You watch him play, he's thinking. He's 2 steps ahead of the opposition. Man was over there laughing at me.
I love this guy.
I'm just out of interest. Has he played the first 2 games of the football?
No, just about. He doesn't. The thing is, Kate ain't performed yet.
Chris, I kind of think you got some favourites, you know?
I have got some favourites. You know, I like intelligent footballers. You can be not that fast, you can be not that physical. If you've got a brain on you, knowing when to release the ball, knowing when to make a run to create space for others, you can't put price on that. And you know what I mean? And that's what will make our team tick and flow. It catches people out, it shifts defenders about, makes it easier. Think about the game. Don't just run around kicking people or doing Cruyff turns. You know what I mean? Cleverly reborn.
To be fair, going back to our guy at Derby, I mean, what's his primary position? And if we do bring him back next season, who is he replacing?
But he could play. He could probably play either side of the 3, innit? Of the top 3.
Number 10.
Squad player.
All these boys, all these academy, like, you know, all these academy boys, the attacking ones, have been brought up to be 2-footed, to be confident on the ball, and to score goals. So he can play anywhere.
And how did that come to bite us today, the 2-footedness? Shaqiri's chance in the first half.
That was
he struggled.
mad.
He wanted it on his left foot. And then he thought, no, can't do it. And he hit it with his right, and he hit it at the keeper.
That was crazy.
Pickford didn't save it. He hit it at the keeper. And so, with our academy boys having 2 feet, that is
our academy boys. He's British Isles, you know what I mean? So and he's young. Shaqiri's like 24.
But I would rather have the academy guys in there than some of I'd rather see those guys in there with the enthusiasm and learning, even if they're making mistakes, than seasoned vets who are not offering anything. It's just me. I prefer to have the youngsters.
Wilson looks good.
It would be nice for us to actually bring a player through. Again, you know, because obviously we've had Trent in recent times, but an attacking player, he was bought from Charlton a few years ago. But to have an attacking player come from the academy and actually make it in the first team,
Fowler,
another Fowler.
I think he'll play. You know, I
don't know. When's the last time we actually sent a player out on loan and brought him back into the team?
But this is
it's very rare we had that.
This is the conversation I was having with someone the other day. I was like, you don't see many academy. It's like with the pressures of the Premier League, for managers, it's to blood in a youngster. It's not really going to happen anymore. It's only getting further and further away because the pressures of them to win things. You need someone who's already proven and can do stuff.
Do you know what it is? To blood a youngster and an attacking youngster, they have to be outstanding. You can't mould them into the team like they've done with Trent, like he did 2 years ago. Gomez playing at a right back at first. You've got to be outstanding. You've got to be a Sterling level.
So you can hit the ground.
At that sort of 18, 19 age. And we don't know if Wilson is that level. He's that level now.
And Jones as well. Jones is another one.
Jones, I think he struggled a bit more. But Wilson's doing bits now, but we don't know if he can do that in the first team. And you've got to be outstanding to make that break. And I just feel like he could be another one that's going to fall by the wayside. We've always had these young attacking talents.
Suso,
you know, they never really make the break into our first team.
Let me
the
give
attacking
you
players wise, anyway.
An analogy for this particular options that we're talking about at Klopp, with the pressure situation and who he's choosing. He needs a trophy. Badly needs a trophy. He's lost the finals. We need a trophy as a club. And then he's got to choose his players. The reason he's choosing the go-to players is because of this analogy. You got blue balls and you got 3 girls. One's going to put out definitely. The other 2 you're not sure. Which one are you going to go to?
True.
Do you know what I mean? And that's the situation. That is literally the same situation for him. He needs the Premier League or he needs a trophy in the cabinet. So when he's making these choices, I know everyone will say, we want to throw in the youngster and it would be great to see. And he's the man to be able to do it because he's got the trust. But when it comes down to it, he's got to put his job on the line and put the expectations of the whole club on the line, and everyone wants the trophy. So he's gonna go with who he trusts to get that done.
But he's shown some things. I mean, obviously, what we got Trent and we got Gomez was bought, but he was bought.
But
he was 18, very young.
age, yeah.
He could have bought a centre back, for example, or kept Clive on. So he's Gomez, Trent, Brewster's 5-year contract. Wilson signed a contract before.
Well, we're moving from Melwood as well. We're all going into that. I forgot the name.
Klopp's a pragmatic guy. But I thought that, you know, like when
he championed that move so that the academy and every level is all together, so you can see it.
He also, if he had the 150 million as well, he would buy it on one player. I think he's that type of guy that I said that before we even bought Van Dijk. Like, I think someone in the WhatsApp group was saying, "Oh, he's not going to spend the money and he's just happy to." And I was like, no, if he gets the money, he will buy a player for £1, Klopp, if he thinks he's good enough, and he'll also drop 200 mil. Yeah. Like, I think that he's not afraid. He's not afraid of either.
Whatever.
Do you know what I mean? Or a youth team player. Do you know what I mean?
If he feels it's worth it.
If he feels it's worth it, whichever. Yeah.
Worth it. So that brings me nicely. Obviously, we've got a busy period coming up in December, but then January's around the corner, and we have the transfer window. I don't want to spend too long on this because but. Do you think we need anything in January, boys?
Yes.
Go on, Sini. What do you need? Just quickly, what do you think we need?
We definitely need a creative midfielder, I think, in the absence of Ox until he's back.
Well, but Ox is out. Ox is out for the whole season. There might be a chance he comes back for the last few games. The last few games, but you just might as well take it as he's out the whole season. So yeah.
Yeah, I think for the second half of the season, we need another attacking midfielder as an option. One that's not frightened to get on the ball, take a player on, shoot, have a shot from outside.
We're not having too many shots from outside.
And we also need backup for the front three. Definitely, I think the
wingers talk of Dembele.
Take one off. Yeah, and I think that's a very, very strong option.
Well, we've been linked with Dembele. There was rumblings in the press about us and Dembele.
If we get him on a loan,
Dembele is no backup. He's coming in to take someone's place.
Well, if that's the case, that's the case.
Yeah, if he's good enough,
that's the case, man. That's the case.
I'm fine with that.
It'd be nice for them to have real competition.
And this is what we're talking about.
Raw pace.
Exactly, and that's what we need. We need players keep stepping out.
We're licking our lips at that prospect, aren't we?
Just somebody who can drift past players and commit players, because we are missing that. We are missing the player who's a threat coming from deep and will make defenders and midfielders draw them in and create space for others. I think we've missed that since Ox has not been available, and like I said, everybody says Kate is not up to speed yet either. So we definitely missed that. We haven't got too many people midfielders getting beyond, because if you look at the number of goals we scored from midfield, it's not been great. I don't think.
Do you know, I just want to get in that this sounds like I'm total war of City, but just touching on what Sini said about getting in Dembele, I agree with it. And then Sam obviously said, well, boy, he's a big player, so someone's got to make way for him. But do you know what? How have City got this balance where they've got top ballers in that side?
It's straight. Do you know
pay me 300 grand a week, I'll sit on your bench.
It's not even that. It's not even that. They're a winning football team.
That's what I'm saying.
They win trophies. It's not even that deep.
It's not even that deep.
I think the money helps.
If we want something, I'm just saying. So if you've got a top footballer in the side, it shouldn't be a fact that this guy is too big to be on the bench. It should be like certain games need certain players. And that's it. We may require you in that game to come on and do a team, yeah? But all the time, we're always worried that, like, if this guy comes in, what's going to happen now? Because it's going to just... But City had this thing. Sane was on the bench at one stage. Sterling might get dash. Bernardo Silva can't get in the side. Look at the names I'm calling out. These guys are ballers, bro.
Lee, it's straightforward, bro. In the last 5 years, they've won trophies, and they're consistently challenging trophies. We're new. We're new to this.
It's more than that, though.
They've got the oil.
That's what I'm going to say. It's the limitless finance. The players there know that if you don't perform, we'll sell you and go out and drop another.
No, I don't think it's that. No, I don't think it's that. What keeps big players on benches, because I've said it before in previous episodes, that Liverpool have always struggled to keep quality on the bench, and I said that because we keep Daniel Sturridge on the bench, right? But the difference with City is that they have the combination of they've got the money, so you're being paid good enough to sit on that bench. They have the trophy, I wouldn't say history, because they haven't...
Just recent history.
They have a lot of recent history, so if you look at them as a foreign player, you're thinking, well, they've won this, that and the other. And they've got Pep Guardiola, man. Like, let's have it right, yeah? if there's any manager you want to manage you right now in the Premier League, it's Klopp. But Pep first, isn't it? So that's the
But only
fact City have.
because he manages City though.
Yeah, but
I'll put them next to each other.
they're probably I give you that. But what I mean, because he's at City with the fans and the recent history, it makes him so attractive.
This is a good point. Like about the arguments I've had of other people over the years about, you know, especially lately when we bought Van Dijk. Oh, Liverpool spending money now. And you go, well, net spend. This is why I got respect for the Spurs and Pochettino. Net spend means so much more. It's not just the fact that you've sold a player or you can't keep a hold of a player. Yeah. It's usually because the club wants to get someone with high wages off their payroll. If a club has a high net spend, that means more than likely they've got a very experienced player on the bench who's on big money, he's a respected player, and he's on the bench. Sometimes they're not even in the squad. Sanchez.
Yeah.
That's all we got to say. Alexis Sanchez.
Mad. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that scumbag. Boys, so just to bring it back round today to the Everton game, because we didn't really focus on the Everton game too tough today, because I think we were all jubilated by the result at the end, because obviously Divock scored in the 94th, 95th minute. I mean...
And a mad goal is that.
Yeah, I for one was ready to come on here and just start letting loose. Yeah, my tongue was going to be free. Do you know what I mean? Because I wasn't happy. So for me personally, I'm absolutely ecstatic with the result today. I don't care how they come. Yeah, if it goes in off a bum or an elbow or whatever out of the hill, I don't give a damn. Yeah, I'm just grateful that Divock was sharp enough to follow it up and get it in the net. So coming with that as well, I want to come to everyone's man of the match, because I think that's going to be a tough call today, because I don't think we were outstanding today, or there was an outstanding performance that I can think of as I'm thinking. What do you boys think?
Do you know what? I'm going to shout out Alisson.
I was about to say, Alisson made the key saves.
Because he can have quiet games, but you can depend on him for a crucial save at a crucial time. Distribution's always on point. That save from Gomez today, I mean, he just spread himself and it hit him. Point blank. Like, you need those moments. And to be fair, when they were playing better than us...
Save from Walcott, when the ball was at Walcott's hand. He touched it off. Because that could have gone
because you know, Karius Mignolet, that's a penalty. That's a penalty all day. And he's done that. I mean, even in the PSG game, he pulled up quite a few decent saves that game as well.
He did. Let me shout out Alisson as well, because I don't know if Klopp told him to do it or Trent said to him or he made his own mind up, but with that last free kick in the last minute, and he came up and passed it
wide to change the angle.
That wicked commentator on Sky, he goes, Alisson's come up to pass it wide. He's changed the angle. And he said, not the daftest idea in the world. Do you know what I mean? And it worked, because it was a better angle to get it to your far post.
And showed great leadership, I thought. It was an incident many people might not have seen.
Oh, yeah.
When they were about to get into a scrap, and he came over like a grown man and said, listen, enough with that nonsense, we're trying to win the game. I love to see stuff like that. That's leadership, not running around barking at people, but understanding...
Don't say his name. Don't say his nim. Bring it back.
Help himself.
I didn't say it.
Bring it back.
I didn't say it.
But you know what? As well for
This is
Alisson.
my favourite, I swear. If I was a listener, I'd be like, yeah, Chris is my guy.
Chris is Liverpool manager. He'll fill the team. The referee began, is this your team sheet? There's only 4 players on there. Yeah, it's cool. This is my team.
What I'm trying to say is there's certain qualities as a club we should be aspiring to bring into the team, and I like that. I think there's a long-held British belief that the way to win games is to stand like strut, stand tall, be a peacock, all that sort of stuff. I like players who understand situational management, where you understand what's going on. Young players, pay attention, boys. We're trying to win the game here. You know, we got punching bag in the change room. You can deal with that anger afterwards.
He was high up the field to celebrate on the field with Klopp, and I love that. I love that.
Exactly.
Whatever fine he gets, take it. That moment was wicked for me.
I think Klopp's that little pass of him. Even if it was just to hurry it up, it was so like...
It was important.
He was, he's pushing everything forward. It's like, come on, get the fuck on with it.
Leroy, what do you reckon? Man of the match for you today.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking of Gomez, to be fair, like, man, because Alisson had a thing, but there was things in the game that I seen of Gomez where, like, there was danger, he's read it, his pace has got him there, he's cut it out, and we don't see the problem after that, but I can see it, like, when you watch the games, I see it, I'm like, oh, that guy got in there, we had a problem, you know what I mean? But, I can see why you're not going to pick Alisson, but yeah, Gomez,
For you.
Gomez had a good game. He
Yeah,
lost Richarlison maybe twice. Just through just like a bit of not judging where the second ball's going to bounce. Like it's
But there was one incident
you know where he lost the ball towards the corner flag. But you know what I love about him? He didn't lose confidence from that moment. Like, he got back into shape. He was calm again. We regained possession. I think they got a corner out of it, but it was calm.
Have we got longer to go on the podcast? We've listened things out, you know.
No, we're doing. Why? What do you want to?
Just going back to the European games. Why have we been losing away when we're moaning about clicking and this and that? But Klopp's pragmatism has got us. It's been brilliant. Shout out to Klopp. And this is what it's like to be a title-winning team or up there. It can be boring sometimes. Fine. Why does he keep messing around with the defence?
Away from
home in the Champions League and stuff.
All right, cool. We'll come to that in a second. Let's just finish off man of the match quickly. What about you, Sini?
I think I'll go with Gomez.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'll go with Gomez. I'm taking a great shine to Gomez. I think the way that he's adapted this season, he's actually one of my favourite players this season. I'm just so happy to see the way that he's growing into the player that I think a lot of people thought he could be. He just weren't playing centre.
And I never thought he'd be this good.
And watching him now alongside Van Dijk, I'm just thinking we've just got two powerful, strong, fast, quick, intelligent centre-backs, and he's taking the initiative as well. Even when the passes ain't on, he's doing what I'm expecting from our midfielders to do.
He's saying, step into the play.
You ain't moving in to give me a pass, I'm going to drive with it, and then I'll create the space to make a pass. And I saw him do that a couple of times today. Do you know what I mean? He's confident on the ball. He's demonstrating some attributes that a lot of players should be. That are
beyond his years.
That are above his years. Do you know what I mean? So I definitely will go with Gomez.
Yeah, no, a good shout. Okay, for me, I think I'd go with Alisson. Gomez wasn't. There was one point where Gomez made a foul. It was near the halfway line, and it was a very good tactical foul.
It was excellent foul.
It was a great foul. He didn't make a fuss. He knew he was getting the yellow card. He just took it. And he said, "Yeah." I saw him mouth to someone. Come on, just play in it.
Grown man shit.
I don't mind my players making smart.
Oh, of course he does.
Yeah,
that's what Fernandinho does. Fernandinho has lots of little niggly fouls the whole game.
And that's what I mean. That intelligence. Don't remember the game that we played in Champions League when Adam had a chance to bring down the player, and
he stepped off him
against Red Star.
Yeah.
And he watched him, not digging him out.
Okay,
do
you
know what? Winnie's actually had an abuse-free episode today.
Yeah.
Let me correct that. I'm joking.
you got another target at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're split between Gomez and Alisson, but they both deserve plaudits today.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I said, great result, great way to win it. Felt like a cup final. I'll take that.
Can't be a last minute.
I hope
in a derby.
I hope if when we win the league, we look back at. There's 2 games so far that I want us to just look back at and think, wow, that Sturridge goal at Chelsea and that Divock goal today at the Kop end, man. That's
big shout out to Derek.
Yeah, Derek.
That's how we refer to him. Big up Derek.
Right, so Paul, you wanted to touch on why we keep losing away in Europe and why the Klopp keep messing with the defence. Now, I believe the reason why he messes with defence. I'll take it back to the PSG game. I think I said it already, but with Gomez, he's a bit more defensively solid than Trent. Trent would obviously get forward, trying to whip in a ball defensively. He's not. I wouldn't say Trent's lacking defensively, but there's obviously, if you've been forward, you might not get back. There's a space in there. So I think on Tuesday he had in mind Mbappe, Neymar, whoever decided to play on that side. He thought, if I stick Gomez there, it's going to shut them down. So I think that's why he tinkers with it. You got to think, and then you've got your best defenders, as it were, on the pitch. You've got Gomez, you've got VVD, you've got Lovren. You see what I'm saying? No, you laugh, but to Klopp, he likes Lovren, innit? Do you know what I mean? Our personal opinion of him is another story, but to Klopp, those are his best defenders, yeah?
But to me, it's like another thing that Klopp's, and this is, again, why it sounds like I'm bashing Klopp. Klopp's amazing. But in this regard, I think there's another perception he has. He's got a perception. I think he's got a perception issue. It's like, Gomez is a centre-back, so I should play this centre-back at right-back because obviously he's a more natural defender. But what about going forward? In that game, every set piece we had, I was like, oh, fuck. We've got Shaqiri on the bench. We've got Trent on the bench. Who was taking those free kicks? They were awful.
But then,
do you know what I mean? And Trent's not bad.
But in saying that, both of them were on the pitch today, and again, our set pieces were very poor.
True.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
True.
While we're here, we need
a coach.
Set piece coach.
Forget the throwing coach.
We cannot beat the first man.
Yeah, it's terrible.
We cannot beat the first man.
The
Virgil.
last successful corner we had was against Leicester away when Firmino scored direct from a corner. Since then, nothing.
We send the big boys up. And
it's not even getting to it.
It's not always bad.
It's a high percentage. It's a high percentage, mate. It is.
Salah can't take them. Shaqiri can't take them. Trent is sometimes.
Shaqiri's free kicks are decent.
No, we're not talking free kicks.
We're talking about
corners as well.
Corners.
Okay.
Free kicks is next level. But we send all the big boys up and then we do nothing with it. It's just like it's so frustrating.
The ball should do half the work for you. Do you know what I mean?
That should come because again, that's like going back to just like. Like quality on the ball. Like when you look at Liverpool this season, like how we've been so dominant that we've missed chances, scored goals, and not played extremely well. Like in terms of, I'm just talking like passing A to B. Like ball comes into Salah, roll it. Oh no, try back heel. Oh, it's flopped. Mane into someone. Oh, just pass it just wide. I can't explain it, but when that comes, that might help with the free kicks. Like confidence, like breathe out, whip it in the box. Somewhere central.
I think they should just try a different approach. I think if you look at how good Van Dijk's in the air, just loft one in.
That's my point. He's Watford. Up there. He's great in the air. And how many chances has he actually had from a corner?
We played Watford. They had like about 900 routines. We don't seem to have that many routines from set pieces.
Yeah, different. Yeah,
there's not much variation. We just like hoofing it in. There's no variation in who we're sending up or where people are being positioned. Or sometimes you get set pieces where it's a setup. You know what I mean? For somebody to be in another position to get it, not initially. Yeah. You know what I mean? We need variation.
Just one quick one, yeah? I promise it won't take long. It's the about the away game situation. And I get with the whole changes. But the other thing we've got to take into consideration is we're playing Napoli away from home. They are not crap. We're playing Paris Saint-Germain away from home. They are not crap. Yeah. And Red Star, if you check them in our group as it stands, they didn't lose to Napoli. They didn't lose to us. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah. You see the picture? Yeah. So now they got PSG. I think they're playing PSG at home now. Yeah. Don't be surprised, if they get some sort of result. Because it wouldn't shock me. Because I've seen how it's gone there. But it's a hostile thing. It's not.
Yeah, but that's why Klopp's gone with what you're saying. For the reasons you're saying, that's probably why he's gone with the more defensive.
I kind of can see certain things, but that group we got is a tough group.
Yeah. Basically, but it's the Red Star game, isn't it? Away, that wasn't great.
It's the way we conceded. It's not that way. It's not that great. It's not that we're saying that we can't lose. It's sometimes it's the performance. You can take if somebody bangs one in for 35 yards. Fair enough. You know what I mean?
Didn't he? We let him walk up to the box.
Let's not get into that. But he banged it, didn't he? But
the thing is, it was just the performance, though. The lack of overall quality. That's what the frustrating thing.
That's what hurts me. Yeah, that's what hurts me as well. The level of the performance has got to be there. But like I said, for me to answer your question, Paul, I just feel like he tinkers with that back line because he wants a more defensively solid line. And as to why we keep losing away in Europe, he won't play the 4-2-3-1 away from home, will he? Unless it's obviously a lesser team.
Champions League is a place to be quite adventurous.
Yeah, it is because teams play.
And again, I'm not totally sure how the game ended. It could have been a 4-3. It looked like a 4-3-3. It could have been 4-2-3-1. But we starting that with that formation this season, we're yet to concede.
Okay, let's touch the wood and long may that continue, boy. Do you know what I mean? All right, boys. I think it's time I wrap it up. You know what I mean? Don't want to go on too much longer. It has been a pleasure. Now, listen, listeners. Like I said already, if anything you've heard today you don't agree with, like I said, feel free, leave a comment or tweet us at South Anfield or at us on Instagram. And what's our Instagram again? How can I forget? Anfield_South1. And leave your message and we'll address it in the next podcast. But for now, I've been your TalkSport. Oh, sorry.
Long guy.
No. Alright, as always, man, I've been your host, Sini, man. It's been a pleasure. Boys, today we've had Sam with us.
Yes, people.
And we've had Chris.
Yes, people.
Leroy.
Yo.
Paul.
Peace.
And of course, Sini.
Thank you, people.
Until the next time.
They've won the league, bigger stars than Dallas. They've got more silver than Buckingham Palace. No one knows quite what to expect when the red machine's in full effect. Well, Steve McMahon sure can rap. It's about time he hadn't